What's up, everybody? We are live back for our, 14th stream so far. Just getting this off the ground, but man, I am having a blast doing these deep dives with everybody today. Well, if you read the title, you know that we are going over proof of work projects, right? Fun stuff. Now, why would we be going over proof of work? Who doesn't know that Bitcoin is proof of work, right? Who doesn't know that? That's not really what we're here to talk about, Bitcoin. There are many other projects that are proof of work, Caspa being one, and not Casper, but Caspa. One that has made a lot of people a lot of money who mined it early on. Wait for a few people to roll on in here. I see we got a couple people in. Let me make sure my audio is good before we get going here. And how about that market? I mean, the market has been surprisingly resilient. I feel like a lot of people felt like it was going to just dump right out the gate, and it did dump, but I don't know. I've been in this long enough that I feel like it was pretty decent of a recovery here. Sorry, I'm trying to turn this TV off and it doesn't want to cooperate. All right, there we go. It's off. So let's go ahead and jump into it while we let people trickle in here. Let's take a look at what's going on today. So right off the bat, we're pushing back up. The total market cap of all crypto up 3.1% overall of all crypto, right? Really pushing back to that $4 trillion market cap. We're just barely below it. And Bitcoin right now sitting at 111,700, almost 112,000. Let's go ahead and look at the chart real quick, just see how far we did fall at one point. Let's just look at the monthly. We don't want to look at the Bitcoin max chart. That's a little bit too zoomed out for us right now. So looks like we had fallen. See if I can get the exact here. CoinGecko does not make this easy. Looks like we fell down to 109,200. So to get that push back up, let's see what the 24 hour says, 1.8% on the day. To get that push back up to somewhere in the mid 111,000 is really not too shabby. I mean, I think that is pretty good recovery. Can it hold? Will it go down? Nobody knows, right? Anybody who tells you they know exactly what the market is going to do is most likely wrong. That's just what it is. My mentor plays probabilities, and he has great probabilities and data sets, but nobody should be telling you they know exactly what's going to happen. But anyways, we're not here for TA. We are here to deep dive proof of work projects. And if you could hit that like, share, subscribe button, bell notification. We're doing this Monday through Friday, 8:30 to whenever I get off pretty much. And that's New York time for anybody who wants to, equate that to wherever you are. I love to see Ethereum back at 4,593. I just want to say 4,600 because that's pretty much what it is. And I love that. Things were looking a little dreary yesterday, and things have seemed to recover. XRP back above $3. Love to see that. I have quite a bit of XRP, so I do love to see that. 862 for BNB. Let's go right down the list. Dogecoin sitting at 21 cents. It got hammered a little bit there, but that's all right. Cardano 86 cents. Chainlink 24. Hyperliquid $48.76. I usually stop right there with Hyperliquid. Really just waiting to see if a few more people roll in here before I really start talking more about proof of work, right? And really what I wanted to look at today mostly was probably the smaller proof of work coins that you're not as familiar with, right? So, I mean, everybody knows Bitcoin's proof of work. Ethereum used to be proof of work. It's moved to proof of stake. You have proof of liquidity. You have proof of efficient work. You have proof of, what's the other one? We just deep dived another one. The point being, there are many different narrative or niches to proof of something. Proof of liquidity, that was the one that we looked at the other day. So proof of liquidity, very much like proof of stake, but different. And so these are all different ideas utilizing blockchain technology to create their own chains, layer ones, which As a reminder, not financial advice, have historically had the biggest returns on investment in the game. And so I want to look at the ones that most people probably don't know exist. One more audio check here. All right, cool. Audio's still good. Everything seems to be firing on all cylinders. I'm glad to see that. Trying to give a moment for more people to trickle back in, but I feel like usually as soon as I start talking about a bunch of other things, that is when everybody trickles back in. So we'll get right into it for now. Let's look at what's trending. Shout out to anybody coming in. Throw something in the comments so I know you're here. We are looking at what is trending. We are just kicking off this deep dive show. We will be talking about proof of work coins that you probably, or projects that you probably don't know about. So we got Notcoin trending today. Again, one of the most ton coin ecosystem, coin is what it is. It's ton backwards. And it's been trending for a few days now, which I like to see. I've been deep diving kind of the Telegram GameFi community off of a project that we found called Caddy. Not telling anybody they should buy that project. I'm just kind of doing my own research by getting in there and messing with those games. And I think that I'll be reporting back to you guys shortly. I started to in the Discord. Discord link is in the description. It is a new Discord, so we're just getting that up and running. John316, glad to see you here again. He says Crow and Trump bought 6.5 billion Crow today. All right. So let's go take a look at Crow. It's got to be up then, right? Kronos is an interesting one. It's crypto.com's, blockchain and platform. It definitely had a big pump today from looks like about 16 cents up to, well, we'll take the highest peak here, up to about 21 cents. And now it's holding quite a bit of gains at 20 cents. Big news today, yeah. It's one that I never really feel super bullish about, but with what Trump is doing, to my knowledge, and what I've read up on the World Liberty Finance stuff, they're going to go with the safe bets, things that have been around a long time, things that, look good to a big time investor and not necessarily the type of stuff small retail is hoping to make a bunch of money on. I one time tried crypto.com, the platform, and I did not like it at all as far as how to get money on there. Maybe it was a little archaic, for this was a long time ago. But I moved on. I had other places where I could get what I wanted, and I kind of just completely forgot about it at that point. Now, we have looked at Kronos a couple of times, the next generation public blockchain. Just going to read a short summary for anybody who's watching. Kronos POS chain is a public open source permissionless blockchain, a fully decentralized network with high speed, low fees, designed to be a public good that helps mass adoption of blockchain technology through use cases like payments, DeFi, and NFTs. So it is a layer 1. Down in the narratives, see what narratives they give it. L1, of course, exchange-based token, exactly, exchange, and they even give it a smart contract platform, which is basically just saying it's a layer 1. So I looked at that for you, John, and what was the other one? Oh, well, you didn't. And Trump. I want to actually look at Trump coin real quick. We were just kind of warming up and looking at what was trending. We were going over proof of work coins today. Thank you, man. I don't know if that means that you're running off, but I appreciate you stopping in if that's the case. You've been here a few times, and I really appreciate your support. And I just want to look at Trump just to see what it's doing. I had a buddy who bought a bunch of it at like the worst time possible. I remember when this thing like almost felt like it destroyed the market for a while. Everybody rushed in, sold everything to get into it. It went super high, and then it just totally collapsed. And that's kind of your welcome to crypto moment there. Make sure I'm not missing any comments here. Shout out to anybody who's in here. We will be kicking the show off in just a moment. Just wanted to look at the official Trump coin and see what it was doing. I mean, it's down in the dirt, in my opinion. Look at that. Yearly chart, max chart's got to be exactly the same. Yeah. When did it come out? Came out July 17, 2025. And I mean, of course, it ran way up to $44. I feel like it was higher than that, honestly. Sometimes they don't get the perfect numbers from what I've seen in other places. And it's sitting at like $8. Who knows, though? Will Trump be using the official Trump coin in his World Liberty, exchange project, all of those different things? I don't know. But let's not get too off topic. I appreciate John 316 for being here. We are looking at what's trending. I was saying not coin is ton backwards. It's one of the bigger things on the Telegram, ton network. And I'm enjoying deep diving all the different GameFi stuff in the Telegram ton ecosystem. I never know which one to say. But yeah, and that's all in the Discord. So join the Discord if you want to get a little bit more of that kind of sauce. So we have this numerary. I don't know how to say this. Terrible at saying things for the first time. Ticker NMR, 410 by market cap already, has $138.7 million in its market cap. But what is it? Oh, AI. It's AI. And that's right. I did already kind of take a look at this. What's up, Doors? How you doing, man? Appreciate you being in here. Have you joined the Discord yet, Doors? If you really love crypto and all of the things that go along with, a community of people who deep dive crypto, definitely check that out. So this says the hardest data science tournament in the world. I looked at this real briefly today when I was looking at what was trending for myself. And honestly, to me, this seems very boring. That's my personal opinion. It doesn't seem fun at all. But there are definitely people I know who would love this kind of thing. Start with hedge fund quality data. And basically, you can apply machine learning to predict stock markets, submit models to predict the stock market. It seems like you can win money for predicting the stock market. Come in and say, at this time of day, this many weeks from now, the market will be here, the market will be there. And then you could win capital for doing that. Not my cup of tea personally, although I love trading and technical analysis and all those different type of things. I watch a technical analysis show every morning when I wake up, but that just seems boring to me. All right, Crow, we just found out why Crow, boring is the best. Sometimes it is, and who knows, as it gets popular, I'll probably check it out a little bit more. So we know why Crow is basically pumping. John 316 came in and told us. The hype must be real because he made sure to come in and tell us, right? We love that. Hyperliquid, one of the most strongest coins in my opinion in the game, not financial advice. And a lot of things that you already know. Solana, Ethereum, XRP, Pudgy Penguins. If you don't know what that is, I have a pre-recorded video of that on the channel. Immutable X, Aerodrome, SWI, and this bio protocol, one that we looked at not too long ago before it started really pumping every day, and it has been doing really well. So that's what's trending. And real quick, top gainers, top losers. I say real quick, but who knows? We might find a really cool project. Really want to get into this proof of work stuff. BNB Aspiration Services. What in the world is that? Economy we looked at yesterday. Obviously, it's got to be BNB, right? We knew that was coming. BNB Attestation Services, native verification and reputation layer enabling composable KYC identity and asset proofs for RWAs, DeFi, and AI agents. So there you go. I mean, they just pretty much laid out our niches and our categories for us right there. Obviously, it's on Binance Smart Chain. So let's see. Got a little diagram, I guess, how it works. Attention comes in, goes public, BNB chain, op BNB, private, Greenfield. Not sure what Greenfield is. Raw data. All right. So 2.5 million unique addresses is pretty cool. 100 plus partners. Yeah, Cass, I like Cass. The community that I'm a part of, man, they got in on Cass so early. I bought very little of it, but we were still very early. And Cass definitely is, I would say, the more interesting proof of work, coin right now. Not going to read all of this, but you get the point of what this is. That I'm sure will come up in a later deep dive. That NMR, of course, being up 113%. And then we got Flock, Access Protocol, Huobi, things that we had just looked at the other day, as I believe they were top gainers. Now they're on the top losers. We've been pretty much consistently seeing what pumps today will probably be on the top losers tomorrow as it pulls back. Now, here is our list here of proof of work coins by market cap. So, of course, Bitcoin's going to be at the top for sure. And then we got Dogecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Monero, Ethereum Classic. Grant Cardone's brother is accumulating Caspa. My mentor actually knows him personally, speaks very highly of him. They have billions in real estate. Yeah, I definitely know who they are. I mean, he was just over at his house playing poker a few days ago, buddy of mine. And yeah, they say that they're great people. But if they're buying Caspa, I am sure it's going to do well. I own a little bit myself, not as much as some of the people in the other community that I've been in for years. Kind of missed that one. I've never been big into mining, but that's one that I wish I would have had a mining rig and I would have been mining back before anybody knew about it. But like you said, we're still early. That's definitely true. And it's the first time I'm kind of seeing you in this, in my chat. I really appreciate you being here, man. Big respect for that. And check out the Discord. I got a Discord link in the description. Let me know if it's not working. It seems like I have to change it every day for some reason. But we're going to be building that community and talking about all of these different type of things in there all the time. So definitely check that out. Now, I could go in here and talk about Bitcoin and Dogecoin and Bitcoin Cash, but that's not really what I'm here for. Caspa is probably one that I will start with. But I want to look at the ones that we don't know, right? Belladex. Now, we did look at Belladex not too long ago, a couple of days ago on the channel, maybe even yesterday on the channel. It seems to keep coming up. But that's like one that you might not know about, right? Did you know Belladex is proof of work? Do you even know what Belladex is? You got Cubic. Cubic is one I have a pre-recorded video on the channel that you could learn more about, but I'll probably be going over that. I really want to go over the ones that you don't know by name, right? And then you have Ethereum proof of work. Isn't that like a Ethereum Classic? Maybe not. Ravencoin. Ravencoin is the one I hear before Caspa really came and took over. Ravencoin was the one that I heard all the time people talking about. Salcoin, Digibyte. All right, so we have some projects to definitely get into here. And before we do that, just real quickly, just going to say a couple of brief things about, proof of work. Proof of work, or of course PoW as you normally see it abbreviated, is one of the oldest and most battle-tested systems in crypto. Technology behind Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, Caspa, and other big projects. But what actually makes it different, instead of relying on simple owning coins to secure a network like proof of stake or proof of liquidity, PoW uses computing power and energy. Miners all over the world computate to solve complex puzzles, and when they solve one, they earn the right to add to the blockchain and collect a reward, right? Mining, I think, is something that confuses a lot of people who are not in the world of crypto. But really, if you just say, hey, you get a reward for being a part of the network. Okay, well, that's a lot simpler. You say mining and people are thinking of people with pickaxes and stuff. And it's like, well, that doesn't even really translate digitally. They're just getting a reward, right? So to hack a proof of work network, you need more than half of the entire mining power, which would cost billions of dollars in Bitcoin's case for sure, the hardware and the infrastructure. And since Bitcoin's been running, 2009, has never been successfully attacked. This is why I think proof of work is still so viable, even though everybody wants kind of something else, right? So it turns electricity and computing power into security and decentralization. And that's really the basis of what there is to know about it. We could go into all kinds of super big detail about it, but that's not really going to add value to your life. So let's talk about Caspa. So $2.3 billion in its market cap. It has collected a lot of market share. Caspa is doing really well. It's number 57 by market cap. I think that's a factoid a lot of people don't pay a lot of attention to, but is very useful. May 21st, May 24th, 2022. And back then it was, 0.0002. So now we're up at like high 8 cents. That is, a testament to how well this project has been doing. I haven't seen them really release anything all of that interesting as of lately, meaning the last couple of months. Here's their website. Beyond the blockchain. So Caspa is the fastest open sourced, and I just want to pause right there. How many layer 1 projects do I pull up? And like the first thing they say is that they're the fastest, best, layer 1 around. I feel like they're all making that claim and nobody really sorts them out, right? Caspa is the fastest open source, decentralized, and fully scalable layer 1 in the world. It's the first block DAG, there's a keyword to make sure that you understand, a digital ledger that enables parallel block creation and instant transaction confirmation. It runs on robust proof-of-work engine designed to handle up to 10 blocks per second without compromising security or decentralization. Built by industry pioneers, led by the people, and the website is maintained by the Caspa community. And then down here we kind of have a diagram that helps you kind of visualize a little bit. So usually a blockchain is very linear, and these blocks would just be like a block with a line to another block and it'd just be straight, right? But one problem that a lot of blockchains have are parallel blocks. So what they've done is pretty much embrace parallel blocks, and they're going to make them just all kind of connect together and work together in their blockchain. I think that is a genius way to solve that problem. So Caspa at a glance is a community project completely open source with no central governance, decentralization of course, following the ethos of coins like Bitcoin. Man, I can't talk today. The coin was fair launched without pre-mining or any pre-allocation of coins. These things are very important. It wasn't given to a bunch of VCs, venture capitalists, so that they could dump it on you later. And technically speaking, all right, this is where we get just slightly more technical, but I'll keep it short. Casper is a proof-of-work currency which implements the Ghost DAG protocol. Unlike traditional blockchain, Ghost DAG does not orphan blocks created in parallel. So they're saying in most blockchains, when a parallel block is created, it's usually abandoned and not really part of the network, but rather allow them to coexist and orders them in consensus, whereby Caspa is actually a block DAG. You can see the Ghost DAG in action in real time with the visual that they just gave us, right? So this generalization of Nakamoto's consensus allows for secure operation while maintaining very high block rates, currently 10 per second, and the minuscule confirmation times dominated by internet latency. So that is what I think the biggest takeaway of Caspa is the fact that it uses this Ghost DAG protocol. That's what makes it very different from other proof-of-work projects. And we will just touch back on the tokenomics for just a second here. See what the max supply is. 28.7 billion tokens. And 26.3 billion are in circulation. I love to see that not many tokens still need to come out. That's good, but for mining purposes, if you're mining, you definitely want tokens. So is that a problem later? Maybe for miners, but for price go up, that should be helpful. And it's already got $2.3 billion in its market cap. And when it comes to tokenomics, a lot of times this is where we begin the conversation of how high can this thing go, right? Because it already has $2.3 billion in its market cap. Really, how high can it go is depending on what the overall market does in general. Are we going to see the top of this market at the end of 2025? And most of 2026 being the pullback or the beginning of the bear market. What do you think? Put that down in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinion on that. But I believe based off of the 4-year cycle, until the 4-year cycle for Bitcoin breaks, I'm going to believe that that's what's going to happen. When it breaks, we will come up with some new, data to operate in a different way, right? So don't fix it if it's not broke, I guess is what I'm saying there. And that would be, November to December, maybe even October to December 2025 as the top of the market. So how much can it realistically gather in that time period? So let's go to a little website called The Coin Perspective. This is a great website for doing moon math. Not going to do crazy moon math here, but I do want to pull up Caspa, and I want to see what Caspa, would need to get to say be at 20 cents. If, of course, it would load. What are we doing? Do I have a VPN on? I don't. All right, so it looks like they're actually updating. It's unfortunate. But for simple math's sake, what you could do is come over here, 2.3, call it 4.6 is what you need for a double up. So we're at a high 8 cents, call it almost 9 cents. In order to even get to, between 16 and 18 cents, you're looking at a $4.6 billion market cap. Because it's such a large project, that is a lot of capital to come into this project, and what to me is a relatively short period of time. Caspa might be one to keep an eye on. In my opinion, what I would do when we hit our bear market, this might be worth loading up on. But we have to pay attention. You can't just blindly buy what you liked in the last bull cycle. You got to pay attention to what the team's doing. Are they relevant? Are they on social media? Are they doing marketing? All of those different type of things. All right, so I had to go over Caspa because somebody mentioned it, and Caspa is a pretty new and up-and-coming project, and really what we're talking about is proof-of-work projects that are, on the way up, not like Bitcoin, which everybody knows about. So let's look at Belladex, right? Because Belladex is one that has come up on the radar quite a bit. Let's pull its max chart here on CoinGecko. Of course, right when it came out, it had a huge spike, probably because it was new. 0.6%, and just looking, or 0.6%, 0.06 cents is what we're talking about here. November 12, 2018. Belladex has been out for quite some time. Of course, it spiked like immediately as it came out. CoinGecko does not like to make it easy to pull that spike and see exactly what it was. So that's unfortunate, because if I hit a year, that spike is going to go away. Almost kind of annoying. I wish they would fix this one little aspect here. All right, $548.7 million in its market cap, sitting at 169 by market cap with an infinite supply. Infinite supply, in my opinion, personal opinion, makes the circulating supply number pretty useless. Still $7.1 billion, but that's or billion tokens. Sorry, easy to say dollars. Kind of irrelevant with an infinite max supply. Let's go to their website. AI for blockchains, empowering a new internet with AI and blockchain for seamless, confidential, computed, secure, and smart interaction. So many variations of like the same word. You just want to say what's in your mind and not what you're reading. Confidential internet browsing with AI-driven insights, right? So almost like a VPN kind of thing. Enhanced blockchain scalability and efficiency, real-time fraud detection and moderation, a decentralized domain system for a new web experience. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. I really appreciate it. We are an upcoming channel. We are deep diving crypto at least Monday through Friday. Come check it out if you love cryptocurrency and want to raise your IQ as a crypto speculator, investor. None of this is financial advice. We're just doing research. All right, experience unparalleled confidentiality. This is Belladex. It is a proof of work project. Proof of work projects are what we are deep diving, ones you probably never heard of. Belladex uses cutting edge, confidential computing and fully homomorphic encryption, also known as FHE, to protect your data across secure dApps, ensuring confidentiality in every transaction, interaction, and computation. AI is at the core of Belladex, so they are using AI really for their blockchain. And let's hop back over here. What categories do they give it? Of course, AI. Do they give it layer 1? Is it its own layer 1? It touted like it was. Doesn't have a contract address, so I'm sure that it is. Anybody invested in Belladex here? Anybody speculating on this one? Anybody know what it is? Would love to hear other people's opinions of this project. As a masternode, DPIN, proof of work, proof of stake. So is it both? Is it both proof of work and proof of stake? That's very interesting. It's a private blockchain. What exactly does that mean if it's a private blockchain? So AI and blockchain in action for individuals, for developers, and for businesses, right? So looks like they're trying to hit all the different types of market that a project would want. A lot of projects niche out into one of these, and it looks like they're trying to do all three. Belladex AI is a side chain. So distributed training for efficiency, transparent audit-ready workflows, cross-platform integration for seamless model deployment. Again, this thing has been around for quite some time. Let's bounce back over to its chart. Since 2018, it says, double check that. We look at a lot of projects. Yep, 2018. And it hasn't really done a lot. Is it just accumulating? Are they just building? They could be obviously still building. Projects come out. A lot of techie things and money and developers. Time has to go into things. I am not sticking up for them, but they could still do something. In the last month, it looks like there's been some decent price action, up 2.5%. You know, looks like we pumped, held it, and then pumped again. And what is it going to do? Is it going to consolidate and pump again? Who knows? So that's Belladex for you. Very much in the AI niche, as well as being a layer one. Let's go look at Cubic. So Cubic is number 261 by market cap. It is a proof of work coin. Also says it's AI in its category and smart contract platform, which basically makes it its own layer one. $296 million in its market cap, pushing that $300 million market cap. And its max of existence, it's down 9.2%. And it came out, looks like, as far as CoinGecko is concerned, 2023. Now it's bounced more to, like, say, let's go to the 3-month chart, because that's most relevant for when ETH and a lot of altcoins have been getting a little bit of movement here. So we had May 30th, we were sitting at, a lot of zeros, right? 5 zeros on this one. And we had some nice pumps. And then, you know, kind of 1 pump, 2 pump, 3 pump. And then we've had pullback. Very much looking like a fallen wedge, but it's pulling back, and this is a lot of times when things will pump. But in order for this thing to do well, you know, ETH really has to do well. And wow, look at its max supply. That is a lot of tokens. 200 trillion max supply, 124.3 trillion in circulating supply. So there's no shortage of tokens there. Fastest blockchain ever. This is what I was talking about. All of them say that they're the fastest ever, right? And I'm sure that they all have different niches in what they do really well, but can they all be the fastest? I don't know. So we're number one. Cubic is the fastest blockchain ever verified on mainstream with 15.5 million TPS certified by this CerticK company. They certified that, right? So it says open invitation, forget fees and delays, turning energy into intelligence. Of course, AI Garth is one of their big things. AI Garth is a AI powered by Cubic, drawing intelligence from hundreds of thousands of Cubic miners to create billions of artificial neural networks, what they call ANNs. It's the foundation of our journey towards true decentralized intelligence. So they really want true decentralized intelligence. That is definitely a conversation to have at some point. You know, ChatGPT, is that really AI? Is it really sentient? I don't think so. I think most people know it's like a super Google, very useful, but not exactly true artificial intelligence. So secure your Cubic. They have an official wallet. All the stuff you would really expect to see, grant programs, incubation programs. If you are somebody who wants to build something over on Cubic, there's so much opportunity for developers and people who want to build on top of these layer one blockchains. It is wild. They all say they're rather hiring or they'll incubate you, which means funding most of the time. And so Cubic, how does it set itself apart? Belladex was very much dealing with AI. Pretty sure they said they were the number one blockchain, you know, fastest as well. But so does Cubic, says that they are as well. Also the AI niche. So that's kind of two contenders. We'll categorize those in our mind as kind of in the same spot. So Dash, not real sure what Dash is. Sounds like something that's been around for a long time. If my memory serves me right, let's take a look at it. Oh, yeah. Wow, Dash has been around since 2014, had its heyday, looks like around as close as I can get, 2017, and it's done next to nothing, since then. So I'm going to say the Dash is probably not going to do anything this bull run, but it is touting it all time, looks like 10,000%, 10,700%. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that, as I am pretty sure that project is pretty irrelevant nowadays. Then we have this Decred, maybe. Maybe it's doing something with credit. I don't know. Still number 267 by market cap. Max Chart says it's been around since 2016. Had a big pump, another big bump. For sure, those are bull markets. And now it's been just going sideways. A lot of coins look like this. Ethereum has really only woken up recently, so a lot of altcoins have just barely begun to do anything. But let's go take a look at their website real fast, because I just want to know what they are. Decred, Money Evolved. So they are definitely dealing with money. They're their own layer one. Decred is a cryptocurrency designed to upgrade and evolve over time based on input of its coin holders. Maybe it's evolving, but it's definitely not capturing interest in the market, I don't think, because it doesn't seem like people are piling into this one. Caspa, which has been around a much shorter amount of time, has stacked up far more than that coin. Raven coin I want to take a look at. I hear a lot of miners talk about it. So obviously it's proof of work. It's like at 1 cent. Not that that necessarily matters. 21 billion tokens, max supply, 15.5 billion in circulating supply. Market cap 209 million. And let's see what their website looks like. Ravencoin, that's one that I have never looked at. See a couple people rolling in. Hit that like, share, subscribe button if you like to raise your crypto IQ here with Underground Crypto Deep Dive Show. Ravencoin is a peer-to-peer blockchain, very much in the same idea or vein as Bitcoin, handling the efficient creation and transfer of assets from one party to another. I know a lot of people love to mine this, but what exactly is it? Uh-oh, we got a trailer that I don't know if I want to spend a minute on. All right, yeah, I don't really want to do that. Feel like I will lose quite a few of you guys if we do that. So let's go and see if they have more information somewhere else. Raven is a protocol based on the fork of Bitcoin code, which adds features specifically focused on allowing tokens to be issued on the Ravencoin blockchain. These tokens can have whatever properties the issue of the token decides, so they can be limited in quantity, name, and be issued securities or as collectibles. Make your own security token within minutes. So you can make your own tokens on Ravencoin. Okay, that's very interesting. So that is, I guess, what the community of Ravencoin is. A lot of people making their own tokens. Very interesting. And you can make them securities. I don't know why you would want to do that. Let's look at its categories for maybe a little more insight. So Ravencoin is touting RWAs, of course, made in America. Definitely want that. I know that they've talked about maybe, getting a bill across the tax exempt for American cryptos. They need to get that done quickly, in my opinion. I'm going to be very disappointed if that is not done by the end of the year. But even if they get it done by the end of the year, we'll be relevant by the end of the year, right? Would love to not have to pay any taxes on my crypto gains. Shout out to anybody who's in here. So we have this Psy coin. I saw this earlier. Would definitely like to know what it is. Psy.tech is the website. We'll go right to what it is before we go anywhere else. So Sia is the world's safest cloud storage by design. Okay. Some people want to make the best cloud storage. Other projects want to get away from cloud storage, like ICP. Discover how our decentralized design puts you in control of your data by default. Our network design unlocks radical, unique benefits. All right, so decentralized design, supreme privacy, and penetratable security. That is one heck of a claim to make. Hopefully they never get hacked there. Continuous platform performance. I don't know where I got platform from. Non-profit model. An open source project sustained by community donations. Sai is free from profit motives and works for the public. That's cool. A lot of nonprofit people still make money as far as other companies go, but if they're taking money out of it, maybe it'll do a little bit better. Let's see if we can get a real quick explainer. I don't want to watch a video. So pure decentralization, peer-to-peer network. Okay. No central access point, no gatekeep, no insanely expensive hardware requirements. Why does decentralization matter? It is key to how Sai keeps files safe and sound. So maybe not the most retail-friendly thing, but storage is definitely a big deal. How long has it been around? Since 2015. So this is very much another one of those projects. It's been around for a long time. Seems like it did, look at this. The first, looks like first bull run it was in, did really well. Second one did all right. Third one, maybe nothing at all. And what is it going to do in this one? Probably less, That's what the data is telling us there. So let's go ahead and hop out of there. I think the most up-and-coming PoW proof of work is got to be Caspa. So when somebody came in here in the beginning and they said, Caspa is the only one you need, they might be right. But I also would still like to do my research and know what a lot of these things are. Let's look at Versus. Digibyte, I feel like, is another one of those projects. And we'll just kind of hop in here and look at the max chart. Been around since 2018, but notice this chart looks very different. Had a little bit of pump, consolidation, and right now it had a really big pump. Looks like, is that in the month or the 3 month? Let's go to the 3-month chart. Oh, wow. So I guess that's more or less in like the year. So within the year from 2004, they went up to $6.27, and then they put in a lower high at $5.79, and they've just continued to pull down. But it looks like there's been some action. If you look at this chart, it's like, wow, the action is not up at the front of the chart. It's more towards the end. So that could be a good thing for Versus. Maybe they've been building. Maybe they have something to show for how long they have been in crypto. So the Internet of Value, a fundamentally different and better protocol to build Web3 and empower individuals and communities. So they are looking to better protocol to build on Web3. So they're very much a Web3 product. Security, scalability, decentralized, all the same keywords, interoperability that you will see all across all of these different websites. Built by builders, for builders, fundamentals without the hype. So they're trying to stay away from some of the hype. The hype is what gets good marketing though. So I don't know if that's a good call. Unlike protocols built with VC, funding, and marketing, Veros has grown organically since 2008, driven by technical merit rather than market speculation. So I can see why builders, people who build stuff on chain and stuff, would maybe not want all the hype there, because they're probably coders and techie people. For the rest of us, we need a little bit of hype to get other people interested in being part of a project or an investor, whatever you say. So Krispy Kreme, love the name, by the way. And the icon you got going there. Cubic is the way. Yeah, Caspa, Cubic are probably the two biggest ones to look at. This one is interesting just because it looks like they have hustled their way since 2018. The market chart here really shows us that there's more price action and involvement, it looks like, at the end of their chart versus when they first came out. So they looks like they've hustled their way. This one might be kind of the opposite of all the other charts that we looked at. By the way, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Definitely subscribe and get in our Discord if you want to have conversations about this stuff all the time and look at what we're doing as a community. Brand new Discord. We're building it up. So be patient. And yeah, appreciate seeing you in here. I never seen you in here before. So 60 million plus total value locked. That's not small, Lifetime on-chain DeFi volume, 500 million. It's really not too bad. So we know what they are. They're building on Web3. It's basically developers, who got together and made their own thing. It's built for developers. They say builders, but I think developer is probably a better way to put it. So then we have Kadena. Kadena is what I wanted to say, but I feel like this is not the Kadena that I was originally thinking about. But it might be, because KDA is the ticker. So I feel like this is one that got a lot of hype at one point and then has probably not done anything since then. 2020, its heyday was 2021 when it went up to, it looks like it probably went up to about 23, 24 cents. Again, CoinGecko makes it hard to get that perfect top there, right? And it has done next to nothing since then. So as far as price action goes, $121.1 million in its market cap, 453 by market cap, 1 billion tokens, and 327.7 in circulating supply. Let's go right to their website, not spend too much time on that. Kadena, the blockchain for businesses. So maybe this is why a lot of people are not investing in it. Usually with business, institutional stuff, the money comes in quickly, or well, it comes in big batches, right? So it'll do nothing for a long time, and then all of a sudden some big institution will finally make an investment, and then it goes up. But I'm not saying that'll happen to Kadena at all. Kadena is the only blockchain capable of powering global finance. Again, another bold claim from another website of a project that looks like it hasn't done anything in quite some time. Build your future on Kadena. So it is a chain web EVM, Ethereum virtual machine, introducing the biggest revolution since Kadena's inception. Chain web EVM brings EVM compatibility to our industry-leading blockchain, combines the accessibility of Solidity with Kadena's scalability, speed, and ultra-low gas fees. It looks pretty, I don't know, it looks very institutional, very businessy, which basically equals boring to the average person, and they probably would love this. You know, big business would probably love this thing just because they can say it's been around for a long time. So is there anything anybody wants me to take a look at for them? Any projects you've been looking at lately? Feel free to drop those in the comment. What proof of work coin do you own? Are there any proof of work coins that you own? Cubic, Caspa? Are you invested in any of those things? Of course, I'm not telling you what to do with it. Flux, I'm pretty sure I own Flux over on like KuCoin, which I haven't looked at in a million years. So who knows what that's doing? Let's just pull up the 3-month chart real quick. Tell me if I even need to go look at it. Down 22.8% in the last 3 months. What about the year? Because I've definitely hold it. Yeah, down 64. So Flux at one point looked very promising, but at this point, who knows? And then it says Zell has been rebranded to Flux. So this might not even be the same one that I am referring to. Very interesting. Looks like most likely another deadish project. There was a time, I think, when a lot of people were trying to make layer 1 projects, and now people are more looking into other niches like AI. Web3 cloud for GPU rentals. Okay, WordPress hosting. I don't think this is the one that I bought. Industry automation, AI workflows. So looks like they are just providing, you know, some computing power for Web3 cloud. Not super interesting to me. So with that said, let's go look back at our top gainers and losers and look for anything that we don't know what it is, right? So Dymo, Aura, Evil Larry. I mean, what is that? It's got to be like a meme coin, right? It's up 50% today. Yeah, it had a nice pump today. Oh, that's the max log. Let's go look at like the 7-day. Of course, it had a nice pump because it was up 50% today. And what is this? What is that blockchain? Story. Okay, is this what is it? IP Story, I think is the name of that layer 1 blockchain. Cat themed. Looks like a meme coin. Let's go to their website. Check it out. Larry the Evil Cat. So he's a black cat. Of course, he's going to get a bad rap. Motives are unclear. His power is growing. Loved by some. Not worth probably reading all of that. This screams Self-made, homemade meme coin. This is what this screams to me. By Larry. Just grab a picture of a cat. Like, you don't even have to own a cat. Like, you just go to social media, pick the ugliest, the cutest, whatever cat, evilest cat you want. Just steal their pictures and make a meme coin, right? Very interesting. No idea why this is pumping. Probably because it's on this story, because you can see the Explorer as story scan. And there is, what's the name of that project? Story, but pretty sure is the ticker. It's got to have some, yeah. And the ticker is IP. It's got to have some connection to this story, right? Was looking at this a lot when it came out. Cass is the way. Loki Singularity. First time seeing you in here, man. Definitely hit that subscribe and like button. I would appreciate that. Discord is in the description. Appreciate you stopping through. Yeah, Caspa is definitely Caspa and Cubic, the big names in proof of work right now. And we went over both of them already. Don't know how long you've been hanging out. So 12.6% in the last 7 days on story. And again, I was saying that this is, story scan, although it looks almost different in Explorers. But anyways, this thing is both a layer 1 smart contract. It says made in the USA. That's good to know. And it's very much social media as far as I understand. Kind of like a play on SocialFi. AI native infrastructure for IP. AI's next leap depends on unlocking 80 trillion IP asset class. Story tokenizes IP and makes programmable from ownership and remix to monetization. There's a lot of things being said there. AI runs on IP. So Story is purpose-built to solve AI's biggest bottleneck, access to rights, cleared, specialized real-world data. Okay, so yeah, this is not actually SocialFi. Because it has a name like Story, I thought it had some connection to that, and I watched some interviews, but I don't know if I'm mixing them up here. Purpose-built for IP. Story is the infrastructure layer that makes IP and real-world data programmable, enforceable, and monetizable. So real-world data programmable. Interesting. Programmable license. So I believe what they're really trying to solve here is like licensing, royalties for things. How can AI use those things if they don't have the rights to do it? So maybe they're trying to monetize it and make it so they can use it. Maybe they have to pay out a little bit to the person, but they're opening things up. And they said there's about, 80... Did it say 80 trillion or 80 million? Yeah, 80 trillion asset class. So that's a lot of money. We're trying to get back above 4 trillion for the entirety of crypto. 80 trillion would make a big difference in our market. Unlock IP's full potential. Story powers new licensing and monetization models across industries and platforms. So I think this was going to apply to a lot of things. AI companies, data providers, biomedic and patents, institution funds. All right. Brand and entertainment and creators. So it does have some. Okay. Creators register, license, and monetize your IP in seconds. That definitely has to do with SocialFi, right? So I wasn't completely wrong there. It does have to do with SocialFi, but it's also much bigger than that. And why were we looking at that? Because it's Evil Larry. Looks like it's a meme coin on Story. Right? Very interesting. It is its own layer 1, I guess, so it's not surprising that there would be some meme coins over there. And let's go look real quick. Can we see Story? Now we're just deep diving, right? So do we have Story ecosystem? All right, we do. As a category. Always amazed at how up-to-date CoinGecko is on their categories. Evil Larry being like the #1 thing over there. Let's take a look if any of these projects look like they're anything other than very small list. Stable coins, of course, you're going to see, and meme coins. Looks like that's all you're really getting here. We have an IPX exchange. Let's go look at their website, IPX Market. A lot of times where the deep diving gets fun, though. Welcome to IPX, the native decentralized IP asset trading platform. All right, and I think Story is super new. go ahead and duplicate that. Go back to story. When did story come out? I remember when it kind of got a lot of attention. Probably came out before then. Max chart says 2020Y 20Y. Wow. I must be getting tired today. So February 12th, 2025, it was at $1.90 back then. Definitely up 225% on its max chart. So that gives us some reference. This thing is very new. So when you're talking about, the decentralized asset trading platform dedicated to intellectual property, kind of reminds me of a Uniswap or a Pancake Swap or that kind of thing in this ecosystem that is very new. How do you make the most return on investment, historically, because this is not financial advice. It's being very early on something before other people are really paying attention. And if you've already missed the boat on, say, Story, which is at $1.8 billion in market cap, getting into something like, Pancake Swap or Uniswap when it was early can be the next best thing. Sometimes it's good to see if the main project or the main layer one does well before maybe buying into something that is going to be, utility tokens. Does it have a swap though? Trying to see. You can connect a wallet, but I wanted to see if they had any features as far as swaps and stuff. So I'm not seeing a lot here. I'm surprised it doesn't say features coming soon. IP trading. And its utility token. So it says trading, but are they swapping? I don't know. I clicked on it. It's not really taking me anywhere but the top of the platform. All right, that's a little bit disappointing. I really wanted to know more about that. One thing I do want to say is there is this project that we briefly touched on yesterday, and it's called Darkstar. And it says first AI-powered game online in Kaya, which are layer ones, that I don't really know much about, but are very interesting. So with 100% airdrops, everyone can earn a minimum of $5 a day. No, this is not like some promotion that I'm sponsored by or something. I just found this very interesting. I'll go ahead and pull this up. I'm kind of doing my own research with it, right? This is the little game. Game is pretty basic, as most blockchain games are. Somehow you're supposed to be able to earn like $5 a day. I have no idea how that's supposed to happen. But I am kind of deep diving this for myself and seeing if it's actually true that you could earn $5 a day. Because if you could earn $5 a day, and throw that money into some coins, well, you'd have some money to maybe speculate on coins that you wouldn't normally speculate on. And that might mean that you make some, great returns on small projects that you would never take a chance on. That's kind of my hope for it. I'm going to be posting it in my, Discord. Whatever I find between this, the Telegram games. I like a lot of GameFi, and I'm always looking for ones where we can make some money. If you remember the DeFi summer where I was on Zune, on Binance Smart Chain, project called Zune, and there were many others. They go $150 to $200 a day off of the NFTs that I owned, and I did not pay that much for them. So can we go back to those days? I certainly hope so. But anyways, I'll be updating and letting you know what I find, what I actually earn in the Discord. There's a spot that says DeFi Hangout, and that's where all of that will be. So hop into that Discord and say hello in the main Hangout so that I know you're in there, because we are just building that up. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to everybody. I appreciate you being here. If you're still here at this point in the stream, you are the real MVP. This is Underground Crypto Deep Dive Research Show. We'll be back tomorrow, 8:30 New York time. And Crypto Ron out. Hope you enjoyed the stream today. Have a great night.